everyone, welcome to this video where we will explore LM Studio, why it's used, the different model it supports, and take a closer look at a specific DeepSeek model. So let's dive in. First, let's talk about LM Studio itself. So LM Studio is a powerful desktop application that allows users to run large language models locally without relying on cloud-based APIs. As you can see, it provides downloadable options for Mac, Windows as well as Linux. Since we are on a Windows system, let's click on this Windows download button. Yep. So this will download an executable file for us which can be installed in just a few clicks. So why use LM Studio? So LM Studio, as I already said, it's a desktop application. It itself brings us several advantages. The first is privacy and control. So since no data leaves your machine, so there is a high privacy and control over your prompt. Next is the offline functionality, meaning unlike any ChatGPT or cloud, it works without an internet connection. Next, it has a customizability where you can choose from variety of open source models based on your needs of the task. Last but not the least is a faster response time. Since everything runs locally, there is no latency issue for any API request. So now let's explore the LM Studio in depth. For that, there is a downloading happening, but I already have a downloaded file of LM Studio, which is an executable file, as already said. Double clicking on it will follow from some prompts which you have to just configure it depending on your system. So once that is done, you will be able to see a LM Studio that can be opened something like this. So this is the LM Studio where you can do much more things using the different models that is available. So here in this LM Studio, the first thing that we'll explore is this discover section, which I just can click, where I can explore all available LLM models. By clicking on any of the LLM models, I can see a detailed information of that here in this section, and there's even a button where I can open that in my browser, in a Hugging Face browser. So it's downloaded completed. So here I'll be able to see a detailed information about the particular LLM model. And again, one thing to notice here is every LLM model comes up with something called as quantized format of different size, Q3, Q4, Q6 and Q8. There can be some other models where it has Q4, Q5, Q6 model also, which basically affects the performance and the memory usages. So let's focus on one specific model called DeepSeek R1 Distill Quen 7B model, which is again available in 4 different formats, that is downloaded version, that is Q3, Q4, Q6 and Q8. And one thing to remember here is all the model, that is LLM model in a LM Studio, comes with something called as GGUF format for optimal performance and optimal download of a model into our system. So before diving deep into this one specific model called DeepSeek R1 Distill Quen 7B model, let's talk about something about DeepSeek AI itself. So basically, what do you mean by DeepSeek AI? So DeepSeek AI is an advanced research laboratory that develops open weight large language model similar to OpenAI and Meta AI. Their models are designed for reasoning, coding and multilingual tasks, making them highly versatile. DeepSeek has been gaining attention for its well-balanced models that optimize both performance as well as an efficiency. So knowing what DeepSeek is all about, now let's try to understand this particular model called DeepSeek R1 Distill Quen 7B model and understand what each part means. So basically, DeepSeek R1 Distill model is a streamlined model optimized for logical reasoning and natural language processing, wherein this Quen 7B is a 7 billion parameter model that is trained by Alibaba, known for strong multilingual capabilities. And last, we have a recommended download option, that is Q4, is a 4-bit quantized version using the KM method, which improves efficiency while keeping good accuracy. So this model is a good balance between efficiency and reasoning power, and it's ideal for any of the running locally on consumer grade GPUs and CPUs, faster response time with minimal resource usage, and handling complex text understanding and problem solving. So you can go ahead, download any of the model that you like, Q3, Q4, Q6 or Q8 depending on your GPU and CPUs. But for my system I try to go with Q4K model itself, and it's already downloaded. As you can see, it's already downloaded in my system because it's of size 4 GB. I already downloaded it. If you haven't downloaded it in your system, you can just click on the model that you want and you can just go ahead and download the option. So like for example, if I want to download a Q3 model, there is a button for downloading it. I can click on this and there will be a data usages, and it will download the model for us. But for now I already have the QB downloaded. So it's not only one, you can download multiple models in your system. So how do you see all the models that has been downloaded? So let me close this a full screen and go to something called as My Models tab here, which will list down all the models that has been downloaded in my system to my LM Studio basically. So since I already downloaded the DeepSeek model, I'll be able to see that I can view it in my model section where all the download models are available. For example, you can download much more models like OpenAI or Mistral or anything. So you'll be able to see all the models here, and all models come up with something called as action configuration. So where you can just click on this button to configure the LLM model for yourself. Like for example, you can improve the context length, you can improve the GPU offload, or you can set the thread size, pool size. So one main options that most of the people use is this GPU offloading, because depending on the GPUs you can set the GPU offloading. If you have a higher RAM, higher CPU power, then you can increase the GPU offload to any maximum numbers. But for now I have kept it at 0. So hovering over each of the configuration, you will be able to see what that configuration basically means to you, and depending on the options that you have, depending on your computer, laptop or the system power, you can increase or decrease the number as you need it, or set the options as you need it. Right, that's it. Now let's run this model in a LM Studio by starting a new chat. So let's go to this chat, and before asking any, I can provide a prompt here and I can just start with asking a question. But one thing that we have to make sure, like for example, what is capital of India? And when I say enter, there is nothing. When I click on enter, it says that no model is selected. So we before asking any question, we have to make sure that we have selected the appropriate model at the top of the screen here. So as you can see, there is a button to select a model to load. Basically this will display all the models that we have downloaded. As I already said, I can download multiple models in my LM Studio, be it a DeepSeek, be it OpenAI, or be it Mistral. All the models that I have downloaded I will be able to list down here. So I can choose the model that is appropriate to my task. For example, there might be a task which might need an OpenAI in place. There might be a task which needs Mistral in place. So depending on the task that you are working on, you can select the model as you need it. So for now, since we are into DeepSeek, so let me click on this DeepSeek model itself, and it will show all the configuration. If you need to change anything, you can change it here in this window itself. For now, I'll just say it as load model. So this takes some amount of time to load the model. As you can see, the progress bar is in the progress bar in the progress, basically to load the model into our LM Studio. So as I already said, the LM Studio will have multiple models downloaded into it, but to use a model you have to load it into a memory so that the memory can take help of a DeepSeek and get the answers for you. So as of now, the LM Studio has been loaded with DeepSeek model for now, and we can start asking any question. Like for example, this is it. What is the capital of India? So let me put up a question mark, but I'll also say it as India, and this is send. By the time the assistant is giving us the answer, let's try to understand some of the options that we have in the LM Studio. As you can see, there are in the message you can see, if you have worked on LM Studio or any of the LM model earlier, you will be able to see that there are two different distinct roles that we have. One is the assistant and one is the role. the user basically. So you can switch between a user and the assistant role just by clicking on this button. So in the assistant mode, you can just go ahead and provide your short examples, and in the user, you can start asking your questions. Okay, as you can see, we have an answer. The capital of India is New Delhi. So how did the LLM get to this conclusion? So we will be seeing that in another example. So let me open up a new chat. I'll just say it as a coding chat or something, and I can just write, help me write a code, help me write a simple Python code to check if a given number is given string, basically string value is palindrome, and I can just say send. As you can see, the assistant started thinking, and my CPU as well as the RAM usage has gone up. The assistant starts thinking. So for the time purpose, I already have one coding chat already with me. So where I have asked the similar question that help me to write a simple Python code to check if the given string is palindrome or not. And as you can see, it has gone through the thoughts. Basically, it hasn't given me the direct answer. Before giving it an answer, the DeepSeek has gone through its own thinking process. That is why we call it as a logical reasoning. It has done its logical reason, it has done its brainstorming before it can come up with the answer. As you can see, it has gone through each and every alternative, each and every scenario. It has done the brainstorming on itself, on its answers, and then it has come up with something like this. So this is the response that I have got, but what is the thinking that has gone behind? So I'll be able to see here in the DeepSeek R1 basically. So I can just collapse the content if needed. The thinking part, I can just collapse it, or if you need to see like how it has come to this conclusion, you can just expand the content also, where you will be able to see what is the brainstorming that it has done before coming to a conclusion. So we have a code here. We have the code that has been provided. Let's try to run this. Let's copy this, and it has been copied. Let's open one of the free tool, the compiler tool. Let's go the online Python compiler. So let me paste the code that has been given. So let me run this application by just saying print and just say is palindrome. I'll just copy the function name, and I'll just provide some example, like for example madam or something like that. Madam is a palindrome, so I just go and run this. So it's giving true. Basically the answer response is true. The response has to be true, and it has come as true. So how do you test it? So do you want help in testing also? Again, the LLM has done that for us, so it shows this. So let me copy the same thing and go back. Instead of me writing by myself, I'll just copy paste the things that has been done. So I'll run it, and it takes time, and it comes up with the response. Boom, everything runs fine, right? So there are multiple there is a window to attach a file also, but DeepSeek is not a model. DeepSeek is completely into helping you with logical reasoning and coding, and not with the chat document chatting. So you can attach a file if needed. You can upload a file if needed. So I'll just upload a random resume that I have, and I start asking a question. But if needed, but to chat with this document, you need to change the model to any other model which takes care of, which can help you with the document chatting. So for now, DeepSeek will not be able to do that for us. So that's the reason. So lastly, one more thing that I just wanted to show is a developer tool that we have in a LM Studio. It's not that you have to open the LM Studio all the time to see, to chat with the document or to chat or to have the prompt and get the answer. You have a developer tool too, where basically you will be able to run the application or run the server on your local system. Like for example, so here it says the status has stopped. That means the server has been stopped. So if you click on this particular button, it starts running the server. So basically the server starts running, It's not just an application, it's a server that starts running, and you'll be able to see some of the endpoints that it provides, like for example get endpoint, post endpoint, and everything. So this runs on a local host with a port number 1234. Let's try to hit one of the endpoint here. So I'll just copy this and go to the browser. Since it's a get mapping, I can put it on the browser and click on enter. So here I'll be able to see what are the models that is in my system, like in my LM Studio. DeepSeek is one of them, and embedding is already it's embedded. Basically, it will always be available. And along with that, you can also see there are some other endpoints that is supported. But how do you know, like for example, if it says post mapping, so if it is a post mapping, there should be some request body that has to go in, right? So how do you get to know what is the request body that has to go and everything? So to help out that, in the top right corner we have something called as quick docs, which when you click, it got opened. So here you will be able to see multiple times, I guess. Okay, so here you will be able to see how to use the curl request. Like for example, what I did was a get request. As of now, this is curl. For example, if you want to do a chat, like for example a post mapping, so you can use this curl request to do the chatting with the LM Studio. Basically it hits the LM Studio itself. Inside that we have a model associated with it. So instead of coming to the LM Studio all the time, you can start the server, and you can ask the question from your code or somewhere it needed. So you will be having the curl request. So this will be helpful for most of the developers if they want to integrate the LLM into their code or something. So with this we come to an end. So in summary, LM Studio allows you to run LLMs locally with privacy and efficiency. It supports multiple models, and DeepSeek R1 Distill Quen 7b, that is the model that we were being used till this time, is a fantastic lightweight model for AI tasks. If you want to experiment with local AI without any cloud reliance, then this is a great setup for us. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this video informative. See you in the next one. Bye bye.